Hi, welcome to the Big Bear Homestead, and today I'm going to show you how this is the most important part in your raised bed garden. Today we're talking hugelkultur. Hi, I'm Jason from the Big Bear Homestead, and if this is your first time to our channel and you want to learn everything that goes on in homesteading, gardening, animal husbandry, predator control, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and don't forget the bell so you can be notified when we put out a video or when we go live. So in today's video, we're going to talk about hugelkultur. Now, what is hugelkultur? If you know what hugelkultur is, go ahead and leave a comment in the comment section. Let us know that you already know what hugelkultur is. But hugelkultur is a German word that means hill or mound gardening, or hill culture or mound culture. Now, we're going to tell you how you can apply this method to your raised beds. Okay, so the basic principle behind hugelkultur is to take biomass that's not easily composted and put it to use. Now, what do I mean by biomass? I'm talking about things like logs, limbs, twigs, stuff that you wouldn't normally put in a compost pile. But you'll put it in your hugelkultur raised bed to break down over time, to compost over time, and it automatically feeds that soil that you're composting in. So the theory behind it is that you take logs and twigs and branches and stuff, and you lay it down, and then you cover it with dirt. So how can we apply this to our raised beds? Well, that's very simple. You take your raised bed and you lay the logs down. Then after you've laid the logs down, you lay in twigs and small branches and stuff like that to help cover up the logs. Then after that, we lay down leaves. We'll put down leaves because leaves will help cover up spaces, and it compacts real easy, and they also break down really well, and they also promote a lot of the funguses and the mold and stuff to grow in there, which helps keep that party going on in the soil. And then we'll add semi-composted material, again, to get that bacteria in there, to get that stuff in there, to help start the process. And then we'll top dress it with a little bit of compost or potting mix. Now, applying this to a raised bed, what's the benefits of doing that? Well, anybody that's done any raised bed gardenings that had deep raised beds know it gets kind of aggravating to fill them up, and it gets expensive. So your logs, your branches, your twigs, leaves, semi-composted material, that fills up a lot of that space. Okay, that saves you time and money. Then once you top dress it with your compost or your potting mix or soil that you may have purchased at one of your box stores, then you sow your seeds. Okay, now everything that's below your compost and your semi-composted material, that's constantly decomposing, so that's feeding the soil. So if you've ever had a raised bed and after a year or two, after one season or maybe 2 seasons, you'll notice, wait a minute, my soil's not as high up. Well, that's because everything was still breaking down and falling down. So you'd have to empty out your raised bed and start the process all over again. Well, with hugelkultur, you've got 3, 4, 5 years, depending on the diameter of the logs and stuff that you're using, to put in there. And if you follow our #1 rule when it comes to gardening, which is to mulch the top of your beds once your seed germination has happened and your plants have started to break the ground, you put a good thick layer of mulch on there. Now you're feeding from the top and from the bottom. Once the season's over, you lay mulched up leaves, or you put more straw or hay on top to let the soil rest and to help protect the party that's going on in there, and then you're good to go. All right, well, that was basically the basic principle of hugelkultur. Now, one thing I did forget to mention was about moisture control. Now, if you guys have been with our channel at any length of time and watched our gardening videos, you know I'm a big advocate for mulch because mulch helps with moisture control. Well, hugelkultur also helps with moisture control, except for it does it from the bottom up. Now, a lot of people like to do the back to Eden gardening. This is kind of the same concept in a roundabout different way. When you're putting your wood chips out on your garden for your back to Eden garden, the wood chips are soaking up the moisture when it rains or when you water. And then over time, it releases that moisture back into the soil. Here, same way. We get a heavy rain, or the sprinklers just happen to hit over here real heavy. Well, as the water drains down, because in a raised bed you need to have good drainage, and that's another thing that this type of garden helps with, because you've got all the big logs and limbs and stuff, so it's very easy for the water to go away, so you don't have to worry about root rot, which is a thing that you can get when you do in raised beds or container gardening. Well, this helps twofold. It gives the water ample space to run and get away from the roots. Now, this is the excess water that I'm talking about. And it also, with it being limbs, branches, twigs, it sucks that water up. And then as things dry out, it starts to decompose, it starts to break, release that water where the root system of your plants can get down there and get to it. Well, if this season you're going to experiment with hugelkultur, hey, let us know in the comments. We want to check back with you after the season to see how your hugelkultur garden has done. If you've done hugelkultur in the past, hey, share with us in the comments. Was it a success? Was it a failure? Did you get better yields? Was it easier to do? We want to know. Well, that about does it for today's video. If this was your first time here and you enjoyed this and this video was helpful to you, please hit that subscribe button and don't forget the bell. Thank you for coming by the Big Bear Homestead, and like always, have a nice day.